Buenas tardes a todos. Otro viernes más con el Star Citizen Live, que en este caso habla del arte planetaria. Saludos Duncan, saludos Harlock, saludos Pablo, saludos Super Pelao, saludos Javichu, saludos Iván. Así que, dentro asunto.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Star Citizen Live. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee, and I'm back.
Yeah.
About 2 minutes ago. Don't boo me.
Bueno, estaba haciendo una coña que dice que ya está de vuelta. Yo creo que está un poco tocado de que tenía una gripe o algo así. Y bueno, pues está diciendo de que está de vuelta ya en el servicio.
Booing me in my own house. About 5 minutes ago, we realized that I haven't been on this set and sitting behind this desk since October 18th. It's been 2 months since we've been here. We've been on the road. We've been in the UK preparing for CitizenCon, doing CitizenCon. We are back. I hope you enjoyed our wonderful, immensely talented substitute host last week, Will Weisbaum. I got jury duty. For the first time. I got the jury summons. And then they decided they didn't want me. That was depressing. Like, I'm not used to that kind of rejection.
It's harsh.
So, what?
Hubo una coña en el Inside Star Citizen diciendo de que en plan de que se preferían a este callar. Entonces dice, está bromeando con eso, ¿no? De que se siente rechazado. Pero que bueno, que está comentando de que lleva sin aparecer en los shows desde el 18 de octubre. Sin estar en ese escritorio donde está desde el 18 de octubre debido a pues, la CitizenCon y toda la serie de eventos que ha habido, ¿no?
What's today's show about? It's about planetary art. If you did watch CitizenCon 2949, you saw one of our guests, this one right here, on two esteemed panels, the Terra Firma panel,
Saca la cara.
which isn't live on YouTube yet, but will be shortly, and then, of course, the Micro Technicalities panel, all about planetary art and our new Planetech V4 and what it does for Star Citizen, what it's doing for Star Citizen, what it will do for Star Citizen. So joining us to answer questions, follow-up questions about those two panels is Michelle Cooper. How you doing, Michelle?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Jared.
And joining us as his first time, not just his first time on SCL, not just his first time on one of our live shows, but his first time on any Star Citizen related video whatsoever. Who are you?
Hi, I'm Sebastian Schröder, and I'm a senior environment artist at the D Studio, I guess. Yeah.
Madre mía, lo he puesto ahí todo tenso, casi no se lo he escuchado que se llama Sebastian. Bueno, simplemente está presentando a Michelle y a Sebastian, que parece que son ahí los gente que está trabajando en el tema de la tecnología planetaria versión 4 y es de lo que va a tratar pues este Star Citizen Live. Lo típico, ¿no? De que se pueden enviar preguntas a lo que es el Spectrum o también se pueden enviar preguntas en vivo.
Did you forget where you work for just a second?
Well, I was like not sure what my.
It happens.
Yeah,
it
we
happens.
changed company names. So.
I think it was Gareth Bourne who came on the show and he forgot his own name when we were doing the intro. He goes, "I'm," and it wasn't a gag. He literally spaced. It was pretty good. It's hard. Doing a live show is harder than people usually expect.
Hacer un show en vivo es más difícil de lo que la gente espera.
Like I said, planetary art, the new Planetech that's coming into Star Citizen with the upcoming Alpha 3.8, what it does for our planets, for our moons going forward. As usual, you can submit your questions live in either the Twitch chat or the Spectrum chat by prefacing your question with the word "question" in capital letters surrounded by brackets. It's going to help us pull it out from the chat.
Preguntas y tal, ya sabéis.
We also collected questions, as we always do, early throughout the week on Spectrum.
Y como siempre, la pregunta que más ha sido votada ha sido el tema de cuándo fauna, cuándo animalitos, cómo va el tema. Da igual, cada vez que dicen planeta o algo que tenga que ver con planeta o formas o tal, queremos ver animales.
And that lets people vote them up. Now, before we get started, I do want to say that not all the questions that come in on those threads are always on topic. And sometimes not always the questions that are voted up are always on topic. For instance, I believe the most voted up question this week was about animals.
Gracias por ese Pride, MRV. Pepino.
Fauna in populating our planets and moons, which is a wonderful question, but not something the artists that work on the Planet Tech.
Que siempre da la misma pregunta. O sea, se hace la pregunta de la fauna y acaba de decir claro, que es una pregunta interesante, pero que no pueden responderla los chavales que se dedican al tema de la tecnología planetaria.
To build our environments can talk about. So we appreciate the enthusiasm. We appreciate.
Apreciamos el entusiasmo,
votes,
pero.
but that's not something.
Pero que os frunjan.
Well, we still got plenty of questions from the thread, so we have done our long intro. I was back. I'm getting used to it.
Buena, Zorro.
Let's just jump right into it. The second most voted question that actually applies to you guys here. What sort of impact has V4 had on development time? Does it make making planets or moons faster? Or
¿Qué impacto ha tenido el desarrollo de la tecnología V4 en cuanto al tiempo requerido para hacer para desarrollo, ¿no? Pues hacer más sistemas, hacer más planetas.
or just better? Or both?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll give a very simplified answer, and then Sebastian can give it a bit technical stuffing to it. So we've essentially removed as much paperwork from the whole development process as possible. So what we had in the earlier version of our Planetech, and it's something that I had as one of the slides in the what's going on with the TV, had in one of the slides on the presentation, is basically this file structure that we had with all these separate files that kept the settings, and this was really slowing us down. So I think that was one of the most important things for making things faster. Mm-hmm. So by getting rid of that space, getting rid of that time, essentially we free up more time to work on the actual artistic part of it. So creating more content, more library items, more assets, more textures.
Yeah, I mean,
Bueno, básicamente está diciendo de que antes tenían que hacer una cantidad de movidas de entregar una cantidad de papeleo, por así decirlo, ¿no? Para poder reunirse y empezar a hablar sobre los planetas. Y dice que ahora, pues gracias a esta tecnología, pueden dejar eso como un poco atrás y dedicarse pues a la parte artística, desarrollando texturas y texturas nuevas o creándose lo que es la parte artística, ¿no? Y el colega dice que sí, seguro, claro.
kind of summed it up, right?
Go ahead.
But like in essence, it allows us to be. I'm not gonna put any numbers, but it's like it's gone from weeks to days for simple planets, just with how the process changed and how.
Claro, aquí lo interesante de la cuestión es saber que recordamos un poquito que con parámetros de temperatura y parámetros de altura y demás, digamos que el terreno se colorea en base a esos parámetros, ¿ok? Entonces, lo que está comentando aquí este hombre es que pasan de hacer planeta en semanas a hacerlo en días, o sea que se acorta un montón el tiempo, claro.
How more artist focused it is now, and like yeah, it's just better all around, I'd say.
Yeah,
but I'm biased. So.
I would agree.
Thinking about it, pardon me, I still have my cough from Citizen. Part of the challenge going forward when we do things like this, and that this applies to many things, not just Planetech V4, is we have now refined the tech that we use to build the planet that was used to build the planets that we've built, the moons that we've built. But as we go forward, we'll be building things that haven't been built before, different planet types, different biome types and stuff like that. So it's hard to completely estimate how much faster it will take us to build something that hasn't been built yet.
Aquí, efectivamente, Discolando está diciendo de que se van a desarrollar, o sea, que sí que se han refinado las herramientas o los procedimientos para hacer las planetas o las lunas y demás, pero que al final, pues van a hacerse cosas que nunca antes se han hecho, diferentes biomas o diferentes cosas pues que no se han creado antes. Entonces, que es difícil estimar un tiempo, ¿no? para ese tipo de cosas.
It's always a challenge in all game development, but I can say from watching you guys convert the existing planets and moons from V3 to V4, and not just the quality increase, but the relatively short time span that's taking you guys to do that. It's exciting what Planetech V4 can potentially do for us going forward.
And to add to that, I mean, it's also we were doing it while building the tools and learning how to use them, so it's only gonna get faster.
Yeah.
Claro, dice que además el paso de la tecnología V4 que ha sido bastante rápido, increíblemente rápido según Lando, y que es espectacular y que además no solo es esa cantidad de detalles, sino esa mejoría, ¿no? Y además está comentando el hombre este que pues efectivamente no solo no solo tienen una nueva tecnología, sino que tienen herramientas nuevas y están aprendiendo a usarlas todavía, y que a medida que aprendan a usarlas mejor, pues irá todavía más rápido el procedimiento.
I think
El proceso.
the tech is really solidifying, and I think already from going through this process, reworking everything, there's a lot of best practices that come out of it, that anything that comes after will benefit from.
Just like with our spaceships, we get better at making them the more we do of them.
Igual que con las naves,
So,
conseguimos haciéndolas mejores
Next
cada
question
vez.
is, what is possible with Planetech V4 in terms of unique environment landmarks?
Ahí me he perdido, chicos.
I mean, it depends what people
No sé qué ha
consider
dicho
to
de las
be
marcas del
unique
terreno.
environment landmark.
Environment landmark.
That anything that comes after will benefit from.
Just like with our spaceships, we get better at making them the more we do of them.
Yep.
So, next question is, what is possible with Planetech V4 in terms of unique environment landmarks?
Gracias, Viking Bowler, por el follow en el canal. Está diciendo que es posible en términos de... o sea, que es posible con la nueva tecnología V4 en términos de marcas del terreno.
I mean, it depends what people consider to be unique environment landmarks, I guess. The fact that we are no longer tying a biome to a specific height map allows us to do a lot more diverse things. So we could, for example, have a giant desert and just put one single oasis somewhere in there, which was not a thing we could do before without sacrificing an entire set of height map data just for that. So that's always exciting, and you will see it from space if it's big enough. So yeah, I don't know.
Ya, está diciendo que, bueno, que lo que es las marcas de terreno de entorno, porque así la ha llamado, básicamente, les permiten ahora que pues pueden poner, por ejemplo, una tormenta ahí en cualquier zona sin tener que depender del terreno como se hacía antes en la V3, no del bioma concreto. Entonces que pueden hacer cosas bastante más diversas ahora.
I think when I think of in unique environment landmarks, I always go to Devil's Tower in Wyoming. If you've seen Close Encounters, the big, giant, crazy mountain formation that they had in Close Encounters, that's what I always think of when I think unique land masses. I don't know why. Probably didn't watch that movie too much.
To add to that, I think with the system, how the system works now, like Seb already mentioned, we're no longer repeating tiles that have a specific combination of this height shape, this terrain shape with these asset types and these colors. So all the elements are completely blended or mixed together in a unique situation everywhere. So depending on the temperature, depending on
Claro, está comentando lo que ya comentaron en la con, ¿no? De que efectivamente que ahora no tienen, en añadido lo que dijo el hombre este, no tienen una determinada zona con unos determinados colores que es un patrón que se repita, sino que debido a que ahora es coloreado, o sea, que ahora está todo que está todo bien mezclado, porque la temperatura es la que asigna, la temperatura y la altura, la topografía, ¿no? Y la temperatura es la que asigna el color del bioma. Pues pues no se ve ahí, pues eso, no se van a ver cosas repetidas como se veían antes, ¿no?
How this mountain range happens to be in that region where it's warm or hot, like hot or cold, what types of assets and all that stuff. So every area is in its own way more unique. And if we talk about landmark things, 80%, the goal of the tool is to do 80% super procedural and not have to worry about it. And that frees up more time for us to do more specific crafted areas. We have Outpost, which is more purposefully built. It's a point of interest for the players to go to. On the organic side, we would like to do similar aspects to that. I think caves is a good example of organic points of interest for players to go to.
Claro, está diciendo de que ahora precisamente cuando nosotros veamos un valle que se supone que tiene unas condiciones determinadas, pues de colores, de textura, de historias, realmente cada vez que veamos uno en el Star Citizen va a ser pues único en cierta medida, ¿no? Porque va a tener su propia altura, su propia topografía, la temperatura le va a afectar de determinada manera, entonces va a haber pequeñas diferencias con respecto a otros valles que estén justo al lado, ¿no? Y que sean del mismo bioma. Realmente esa es la belleza, ¿no? Que tiene ahora mismo la tecnología V4. Y también están diciendo de que en cuanto a las marcas del terreno, por así decirlo, hablando un poco más extenso, dicen de que bueno, que no solo están pensando en poner outpost como puntos de interés, sino también poner puntos orgánicos, o sea, algo orgánico como punto de interés, como puede ser una cueva, ¿no?
And I could imagine like being having a massive rock or something big that is set up in the same way like we would do a cave or an outpost that has similar things that would draw a player to it, but it's not necessarily man-made.
Right.
So this is something that we'll continue to explore. I think caves is a good first step.
Okay.
Además también comenta de que también podrá tener rocas gigantes, ¿no? Podemos encontrarnos rocas gigantes las cuales pues el jugador se aproxime a ellas, pues les genere interés, pero que no necesariamente tiene que estar hecho por el hombre. Estamos hablando de que están hablando de que ese tipo de cosas se puedan, o sea, haya un sistema procedural que las haga. Ojo, cuidadito. Bueno, no sé si os acordáis, aquí voy a comentar una cosilla. Y es que ahí en la CitizenCon cuenta la leyenda de que en la CitizenCon del 2017, creo recordar, decían que cuando tuvieras un combate en una atmósfera y tu nave se cayera en pedazos, destrozada a una zona, pues que habría una posibilidad de que los NPCs pudiesen habitar esas zonas. O sea, como un 10% de posibilidades de que si tu nave caía ahí y se quedaba derelict, abandonada, pues que los NPCs lo utilizaran como viviendas. De hecho, parecía como una especie de chabolas hechas de naves, ¿no? Y con NPCs viviendo por ahí, ¿no? Que eso al final parecía muy lejos, pero con lo loco que está el Tony Zurek ahí poniendo el sistema Quantum y todo eso, pues puede que cada vez eso esté más cerca. Muy buena, señor Cortagarganta. Cortagargantas, perdón. Cago en la leche.
For our next question, this is probably the most common question we've had. While it wasn't the most upvoted, it was the most submitted in multiple places and got votes in multiple places, and it's all over the live chat right now. What can you tell us about water? People really want to know about water. We're talking waterfalls, we're talking rivers, we're talking oceans. What work is...
¿Qué nos podéis decir acerca del agua? Que es algo que se pregunta la gente, ¿no? Cascadas, océanos, mares, lagos. Quieren que nos expliquen si va a haber, realmente si vamos a poder ver una cascada, ¿no?
Been done in Planetary V4 to support the addition of water to our planets, and what's still outstanding?
You go first.
Right. So water remains a difficult thing. We have a ocean that is on Stanton 1, but as players know, if you cannot go underneath the water surface, you cannot really interact with it that much. We have a frozen ocean which you can actually walk over and all that stuff. So
Bueno, están comentando de que efectivamente tenemos océano en Stanton 1. Stanton 1, recordar que es el planeta Hearthstone, ¿ok? Y dice que claro, que realmente el jugador lo ve y tal, pero que no, realmente no se puede interactuar todavía con el agua.
It's an ongoing process. One of the things that we cannot really do yet, but we are really looking forward to exploring and doing more work towards on the R&D side is all the water related stuff. Because one thing that I've always wanted to do personally is have like little small lakes or areas in areas that are not necessarily connected to the ocean. I think that would be really cool. Same with running rivers and yeah, when you get elevation changes, waterfalls that happen as well. But it's quite complex to tackle. So
Diciendo de que a él le encantaría tener, siempre ha pensado en la posibilidad de tener pequeños lagos por ahí y poder ver los ríos fluir y demás, pero que ahora mismo es algo muy complejo. Además, no es que sea complejo poner ríos, es complejo según los quiere poner el señor Chris Roberts, que van a ser una animalada, porque no sé si os acordáis de las bromas que había con la mecánica de fluidos, salir al baño y mear con la... O sea, y mear, vamos, que iba a haber una mecánica de fluidos, que la meada iba a ser real. Entonces, eso se va a aplicar al resto de cosas. Fijaros simplemente el hecho de que cuando si habéis tenido oportunidad a lo largo de estos parches de pillar un whisky, ¿ok? O una taza de café con líquido dentro, ver cómo se comporta ese agua cuando la vamos moviendo, ¿no? Que realmente interactúa, o sea, telita marinera para el agua cuando salga.
yeah, that's we don't have the answers yet for that.
Gotcha. Now, when you say it's
Yeah.
complex to tackle, that's not the same as saying
No tienen
it's
todavía
not
las
gonna happen.
respuestas,
It's
¿no?
not the same as saying we're not going to, do.
Claro, está diciendo además, recalcando, discolando, que cuando dicen que es complejo no significa que no lo vamos a hacer, que tal. Sin más, ahora mismo no tienen las respuestas, pero esto es Star Citizen, señores.
To pursue it. It's just that
No.
you start with when you start any endeavor, you start with the things that are accomplishable now. That's what we do. It's what
Yeah.
you V0, V1, V2. You start with the things that you start with the easier wins. You start with the immediate wins, and then you build from there. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think
De que ahora mismo lo que se centran es en tratar de hacer las cosas que se pueden hacer ahora, ¿no? Porque no, no se van a... O sea, tienen que no tratar de complicarse la vida demasiado, es lo que está diciendo, ¿no? Entonces, en el futuro, pues sí, pero primero hay que ir pasito a pasito, ¿no? O sea, la tecnología V1, la V2, la V3, la V4, el tema de, según vaya viniendo el viento, pues ir dándole caña, ¿no?
considering that we had to rethink how we do terrain, and because it's on a sphere, it's on a planet. Yeah, there's a lot of groundwork that needed to be done before you can get all the other elements in there as well. But yeah, I don't think it's impossible. It just needs dedicated time to spend on it. And considering the changes we've been able to do in the last year and all the effort that went into that, and the people that we have working on this, I think that there's yeah, we will get to that point at some point.
all right.
Tienen mucho cuidado a la hora de hablar, ¿no? Y dice el tipo de que, bueno, debido a lo que hemos avanzado, todavía hay muchas cosas en el terreno que quedan por hacer y demás, pero en algún punto llegaremos a ese punto, tal cual lo ha dicho, en algún punto llegaremos a ese punto de tal y que evidentemente va a necesitar un esfuerzo y una dedicación, o sea, van a ser horas de trabajo, es lo que está diciendo, ¿no? Y con horas se refiere a meses, o sea, imaginaros el percal, ¿no?
One of the questions from the thread had to do with, in a lot of the images that folks have seen so far, either at CitizenCon or the folks that are in Evocati, there seems to be, there is occasionally an issue with repeated textures in some cases. Is this something that, was it a V3 thing? Is it something that's been mitigated in V4? Is it something unrelated? Is it something that's still outstanding? What can you tell us about it?
En la V3 había... O sea, se ve ahora mismo en el juego que hay texturas repetidas. ¿Es un problema de la tecnología V3 o qué va a pasar con esto, ¿no? Con las texturas repetidas.
The repeated textures are obviously an issue. They have been, at least from my personal opinion, better in V3. But that being said, V4 is still very much in a groundwork phase almost. I mean, it's pretty good already, but it's like a foundation of things to come. And the fact that the textures are tiling so much is like a compounded issue coming from technical issues about precision. Then we have to go into like the way we apply textures to the terrain. It's very manual right now, which we definitely want to improve in the future with more.
Está diciendo de que el tema de las texturas ahora mismo es un problema, es un tema de precisión y además se está comentando de que ahora mismo las texturas se aplican manualmente y quieren pues cambiar eso en el futuro.
Procedural things to help the artists do a quicker, better job at this. And then there's also the issue that we're still like, I'm not sure if I should say this, but we've added tech to V4 the last 2 weeks, so it's still an ongoing thing, and we will there are definitely plans to improve this from a purely technical procedural approach as well, without any artist input. So it's not something we're gonna fix in Free 8, but it's definitely on the list of things to do.
Claro, está diciendo que el tema de que se ven texturas repetidas. Acordaros que la textura lo que se ve es un nunca me acuerdo cómo se llama la movida esta de los cuadros, coño. El lienzo, ¿vale? Que la textura es un lienzo en blanco que luego eso se colorea con las temperaturas y demás. Pero claro, de momento tienen planes para mejorar eso, pero que no va a llegar a la 3.8 y es una cosa con la que están trabajando, ¿no? Que es una cosa que, pues, que vendrá en el futuro. El tratar de evitar eso. O incluso de aplicar... desde un punto de vista tecnológico, mejorar el cómo se aplican las texturas y ir cambiando eso poco a poco, ¿no? Pues tratar de incluso también de la parte de los artistas, al final tratar de hacer las cosas pues como todo en Star Citizen, ¿no? Que sea procedural y que luego se le den los toques finales.
Hopefully very shortly.
You make a good point there about how we're still adding to everything that makes up Planetary V4, even in the last couple of weeks. Things are very rarely ever like done. Like, okay, that's it. That's the last we're going to do on something, and then we never go back to it. It's a hallmark of Star Citizen's development that if there's a fix to be made, if there's an improvement to be included, we will pursue that. The next question is actually related to this: is V4 considered final? Which I think I just answered. Or will there be a V5, a V6, a V7?
Claro, de hecho estaba diciendo además que el tema del terreno, pues que espera poder tenerlo pronto, pero para el 3.8 en adelante. Y además estaba comentando y escolando que en raras veces hay algo en Star Citizen que se dé por finalizado y por acabado. Pues una de las formas de trabajar en la casa de Cloud Imperium Games es siempre tratar de mejorar lo ya existente o pues corregir cualquier tipo de fallo. Persiguen eso, ¿no? De siempre mejorar lo ya creado. Y hablando de eso, pues la pregunta que le han hecho, ¿no? Los backers de que si va a haber algo más que la tecnología V4 o va a haber algo más allá, que dice Discolando que en parte ya ha sido respondida con ese comentario.
Well, I wouldn't say it's final. I think there's a foundation now that we can continue to build on, and it's one that we put a lot of effort into thinking through and make sure that it is something that we could continue to build on. I don't think there are changes that would warrant a rename to V5, because I think everything that goes on top of this is an iteration on what in essence is what we have now. If that makes sense, like, from my point of view.
Está diciendo, comentando el tema de la tecnología V4, que todavía quedan cosas por mejorar, pero que es basado en los pilares que ya tienen construidos con el tema de la V4. Entonces, que no cree que vaya a haber un cambio de nombre a una V5, porque todo lo que se haga por encima de esto que tienen ahora será basado en la tecnología planetaria V4.
At least.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair, and I think a very valid point. Yeah, we're just like, I'd say it's good in all aspects. I'd say some better than V3, some still a bit behind. but we have plans for everything to improve them. If we get when and how we're gonna get around to do that, we'll see. But nothing should warrant a complete rework or like a major number change, I guess.
We're never.
Sí, que dicen que el compañero que tiene un punto interesante al decir esto, pues no cree que vaya a haber un cambio computacional ahí a lo bestia en la tecnología y que van a sacar adelante lo que ya tienen, ¿no?
Never going to say never. Let's put it that way. We don't want to sit here and say, oh, there's never going to be a Planetech V5. Take that to the bank. That's not what we're saying here. It's just that with V4, we believe we've got a foundation that's pretty solid that we can continue to build on, and we're hopeful that this gets us to where we need to go, and will continue to support us for.
Claro, ahí Discolando arregla y recalca porque ya está curado en espanto. Y dice que nunca se diga jamás en Star Citizen, ¿no? Sino porque jamás va a haber una tecnología V5, sino que simplemente comentar que ahora mismo pues que están los cimientos, ¿no? Que son unos buenos cimientos y que se va a trabajar a partir de eso.
All the time to follow.
Well put.
Speaking of the improvements over the last couple of weeks, it's been a while since CitizenCon. I think are we 3 weeks away, 2 weeks away? I don't remember time
3?
right now. You guys have continued to improve. You guys have continued to iterate. I understand you have some Ian approved videos that you could show us, Michel.
Yeah, why not?
Ahora está diciendo de que no se acordaba del tiempo que había pasado de la CitizenCon, sobre 3 semanas. Y bueno, están comentando que tienen unos vídeos que pueden mostrar, que han sido aprobados para mostrarnos.
Yeah, like you mentioned, we've recorded some footage just straight from the editor because obviously we're constantly polishing and we want to get the best possible version out there.
Además dice que lo van a hacer directamente desde el editor porque están continuamente puliendo y trabajando en ello y que querían mostrarnos lo mejor posible que tengan ahora en este momento, ¿no?
To everybody soon. But in the meantime, during this process, we often just fly around the editor and just record some videos and share them amongst the team, just for everybody to check in on what the progress is.
So you're gonna do a screen. You're gonna do a screen share with us here now.
Yeah, I will. I just wanted to.
Just gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
No, yeah, just gonna describe the experience.
Oh yeah.
No, I would just screen share. So we figured it might be nice just to bring some of these videos and share them with you, because I'm sure people would like to see it. All right. So this is just footage from the editor of the dark Arctic region.
Dice que esto es una cinemática de la región de Ártica Oscura.
On Microtech.
En Microtech.
And so far, when we've shown this and talked about this, has only been static imagery, like a screenshot. I think there was about 3 screenshots in the Microtechnicalities presentation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's sometimes hard to get fully comprehend what's going on and how the environment actually feels unless you have some footage of just flying around and just seeing it in motion.
Dice que en la CitizenCon enseñaron unas cuantas screenshots acerca de esto, pero que a veces es difícil comprender de lo que realmente está ocurriendo, a menos que lo veas, pues como lo estamos viendo aquí, en movimiento, ¿no?
And seeing the scale and moving through it.
I think one of the biggest surprises in the community, anyway, if I'm allowed to speak for the community here, with Microtech, is that it's not just one giant snow-covered ball.
No, that's we were very keen on making sure that we, even though it's the theme is cold and ice, and that we have a diverse offering visually.
Okay. All right, well, I'm going to keep asking you questions.
Está comentando de que una de las cosas que sorprende a la comunidad, comentaba Discolando, es que Microtech no es solamente un cubito de hielo, ¿no? No es un planeta helado solamente, sino que hay más cosas.
Serious, if you want to play it, you just want to just go through a couple of videos here. We don't want to lose the questions from the community here. What does Planetech V4 do to help with things like popping trees as distance changes and stuff like that? The load in.
¿En qué afecta la tecnología V4 al tema del popear árboles o plantas, ¿no? Que ya sabemos ahora, pues, por ejemplo, estaba pasando una cosa en Hearthstone simpática y es que tú cuando te bajabas, en vez de popear las que tenías cerca, popeabas las que tenías lejos, las que tenías, todas las plantas que tenías lejos, y a medida que avanzabas, se quitaban las plantas de tu camino, o sea, era un poco...
The LED
Um,
swaps.
I mean, Planetary before changes not really anything about that, to be perfectly honest. That being said, I mean, there are some improvements in terms of like what data the objects are spawned on. That's more stable and doesn't jump around as much if it lots out. That's one improvement, but it's also not necessarily connected to the lots. And then there's also the fact that we continuously work on the assets and try to improve them as best as we can. But it's also like disconnected from Tech V4 really.
Claro, dice que, dice que realmente no hay muchas mejoras al respecto, para ser honesto, y que seguirán haciendo mejoras a medida que vayan avanzando las cosas, pero que realmente no es algo que vaya anclado a la tecnología planetaria versión 4.
It's just the thing we try to improve our pipelines all the time. So it should be better than before, but it's not necessarily completely different.
From a layman's perspective, it certainly looks like it's smoother to me, and I don't know if that's just me imagining it, but I see more fades than just pops.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the whole data being more stable thing, really. Before, a lot of the moving of assets was not so much that the lots were badly made, but just that the data they are spawned on moved around with the MIPS. Like with when you zoom out, the quality of data changes, and this is something that thankfully the engineers were able to improve a lot.
Dice Escolando que desde el punto de vista de un burro, del más burro, ¿no? Que da la sensación de que se ve como más suave, las transiciones que se ven como más suave, que no hace lo del pop, ese que ha dicho ahí. Y que bueno, le está contestando que debido al nuevo sistema, que como que permite un mejor manejo de datos y que sí que se puede notar en ese sentido, que ha habido mejoras.
So should be much better than before in this regard, but yeah.
Claro que debería ser mucho mejor que antes, pero que bueno, que todavía que ese tipo de cosas pues se llevan a través de otras líneas de trabajo y que sí que están mejorándose, pero bueno, que no están necesariamente, o sea, no están relacionadas directamente con la tecnología V4, ¿no? Es como pues si hablásemos de naves, ¿no? Son cosas aparte.
Yeah. The underlying loading process is still the same.
Okay. So with another water question here. Will things like oceans, rivers, lakes, ponds, and streams eventually carve and shape landscapes?
Hostia, tío. Eventualmente el agua dará forma a la tierra, a los paisajes, es decir, cuando un río pues pasa a lo largo de los años y tal, va dando forma al agua, ¿no? O sea, va dando forma al terreno. O cuando hay una zona seca y de repente pasa agua, pues eso transforma el terreno un poco, ¿no? Entonces, están preguntándole si va a suceder eso.
No. In
No.
the sense that we will not have the terrain dynamically change based on water flow or creating this playground where people could direct the water flow and make things happen on the terrain. I don't think it will be that dynamic, but it will more likely be the opposite, where we have terrain shapes that are very, especially with the simulated data that's behind it, will more likely create opportunities for water to appear or rivers to flow when we get to that point, when we get that part of it working.
Gotcha. Now,
Están pensando en el sentido de que ni de coña, que no vamos a poder reformar el terreno, pero sí que según la topografía, pues más adelante se plantearían la oportunidad de que puedan producirse ahí pues ríos o que el agua pues que aproveche esa topografía, ¿no? para juntarse. La verdad es que telita cuando salga esto.
Yeah.
We will go through as artists and stuff. We will go through and we will create rivers and anything that seem to have carved their way through rocks and stuff. But we're saying that it's not going to be something that procedurally happens live in the game. It's not. We're not talking about deformable terrain. The water will slowly like wear away the terrain or anything. But
Exactly.
but we will with our tools we will go through and we will create the impression that these lakes and rivers and streams have been here for years and have worked their effect on rocks.
Claro, están hablando de que Buenas, Happy Pito. Están hablando de que efectivamente el agua no va a aparecer, o sea, no va a aparecer una tecnología procedural que de repente haga ríos y tal y cual, sino que ellos son los que harán que cuando pues pongan un lago o pongan agua, darán la sensación de que ese agua lleva ahí muchísimo tiempo y tratarán de darle las pinceladas necesarias, ¿no? Para dar esa sensación, para transmitir esa sensación.
And stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thoughts about volcanoes and lava.
Acerca de lava y volcanes,
There were a lot of questions about lava planets. I don't know if people have just been watching
planetas de lava.
episode 3 a lot lately, but a lot of stuff about lava planets.
I mean, I assume they're talking about cold and dead lava planets, which you can totally do, no problem at all. No, like in all seriousness, I guess they want to like liquid lava and stuff, but it's like the same issue as rivers, really. It's not something that the Planetary before can do right now. We'll hopefully get to that. And yeah, I mean, yeah.
Pues dice que en el caso de la lava pasa lo mismo que con el agua, no es algo que la tecnología V4 pueda hacer ahora mismo, pero esperan poder llegar a ello. Planetas de lava líquida y movidas. Planetas mortales de lava líquida.
I think volcanoes and lavas are really, really awesome. I would love to have them. But I think whatever we do next, whether it's more advanced water stuff or lava stuff, we want to make sure that it's a complete experience and not just a visual representation of what lava is doing on the planet, and then you walk up to it and then there's like you cannot interact with it or anything. So if we add it, we want to make sure that it's a meaningful addition beyond just a visual representation of something that looks cool.
Señor Mantecote, gracias por el follow, bienvenido al canal. Están comentando que no solo tienen pensado el hecho de añadir el agua sin más, que no quieren añadir el agua o la lava sin más, como un efecto visual o como algo visual, sino que realmente quieren que se interactúe con ello, hablando con la lava, ¿no? O sea, no quieren que tú llegues de repente a un planeta lleno de lava y camines sobre la lava, o sea, quieren que te quemes los tobillos.
To make sure that gameplay is involved with it and that we deliver a complete package of like, oh, this is what it's like to have lava in the game and to interact with it.
Yeah.
Que además quieren desarrollar como una especie de paquete de esas movidas, ¿no? En plan, en el sentido de que, ok, esto es lo que significa tener lava en un planeta y cómo se interactúa con ella, ¿no?
I think one of the reasons people are asking is probably because after CitizenCon we know that the Pyro system is beginning its development. So folks who have kept up with the Galactopedia, with the lore posts and stuff like that, looked at the star map for Pyro, know that I think there's a multi-planet or maybe even more than one. It's been a while since I've looked at the Galactic Guide for Pyro, but almost certainly there's some lava-related functionality with the Pyro system, and that's why it's on people's minds. I still think my Mustafar thing is probably correct, though. I liked episode 3.
Me está diciendo que la gente esté probablemente preguntando por el tema del sistema Pyro, que ha salido ahí en la CitizenCon, es el donde saltó la Carrack, ¿no? Y claro, el planeta que está allí pues está todo lleno de lava. Entonces que... Hombre, pues yo por lo que están contando os podéis hacer una idea de que cuando lleguemos a ir allí vamos a alucinar.
I don't hate it.
You are the chosen one! No, I'm sorry. Let's see, what else do we got next? What is something you want to do that's not yet possible with Planetary V4?
¿Qué queréis hacer? Decir una cosa que no sea posible hacer ahora con la tecnología V4 que os gustase hacer.
Steep cliffs.
Steep cliffs.
Steep cliffs.
Overhangs, but this is this is more of an asset issue than we realistically would be able to do with the terrain anyway. Um, and all the smaller bodies of water, all the cool stuff you could do with that, like a lake in a mountain area or flowing water, waterfalls.
Creo que se ha referido a acantilados y el tema de... le gustaría hacer acantilados y todo el tema del agua, ¿no? Las cascadas y tal que han comentado antes.
Now,
That being said, with
Go
the
ahead.
way, sorry,
No, it's your show.
with the way that the Atlantic V4 works with the whole climate data informing the visuals and every asset being able to know what kind of climate data it's sitting on will make it much easier for us to like build assets that nicely integrate with the terrain. So we can make essentially terrain extensions as meshes, and they will hopefully look the same as the terrain, or at least have everything the terrain has around it. And that is definitely something we want to work on very soon.
Dice que una de las cosas interesantes es que teniendo los datos de la climatología y demás, que pueden hacer recursos más rápido, ¿no? En el sentido de pues poner, pues imaginaros una caja, ¿no? Algo así. Entonces que es algo de lo que van a trabajar pues en muy pronto, ¿no? Ese tipo de cosas. De poner pues iba a decir una caja en la lava, pero eso no pinta bien.
Now, Michelle, you mentioned steep cliffs and stuff like that. I think our next question here might actually relate to that. Are mountains going to be taller than the cloud layers on planets? I know there's been some discussion in Spectrum lately with Ali, who's not here at the.
Están preguntando una pregunta interesante si las montañas van a estar por encima de las nubes, si van a ser más altos que las capas de nubes que haya, ¿no? Alguna que, no todas, ¿no? Pero si alguna cima va a poder superar esas nubes.
Moment to talk about it. There's been some discussion about height map limits and stuff like that. What can you tell us?
So technically or theoretically, there's nothing holding us back from having the mountain peaks stick through the clouds. However, like at the moment, the clouds, as people know who do their landings, the clouds are not really that volumetric yet. It's something that's high on our to-do list and on our wish list that's being worked on. So we want to make sure that if we allow the player to travel through the clouds on a mountain peak, that we want that experience is what you would expect it to be. So you want to traverse through a thick layer of clouds and just be in the middle of it, just like you would if you fly with an airplane, for example. So that's one of the reasons why we felt like it's not quite the right moment for it yet, because right now it would not be that experience. Then just to
Claro, está comentando de que técnicamente no hay ninguna limitación para poder hacerlo, pero que bueno, que ahora mismo las nubes que hay no son volumétricas todavía y que la idea de la experiencia de las nubes es incluso llegar hasta el punto de que cuando tú estés pues escalando una montaña, que te veas rodeado en nubes, o incluso cuando estés pasando con tu nave, que tengas la misma sensación de como cuando va un avión volando, ¿no? Entre las nubes, pero que precisamente como es algo lo que tienen prioridad, pero debido a que no se puede tener esa experiencia de momento de esa sensación de la nave. No sé si os acordáis de un vídeo en el que aparecía una Gladius atravesando unas nubes volumétricas en The Coil, me parece que era, si no recuerdo mal, y cómo al paso de la nave se iba deformando la nube y iba dejando rastro, ¿no? O sea, una auténtica pasada. Y eso es lo que quieren conseguir aquí, obviamente.
Hook onto that thread that Ali responded to, and just the general questions about steepness and terrain height. I think Ali did a really good job of explaining it and trying to explain why there's a limitation or what the issues are that we're running into. Actually, I have a little video prepared just to help me with that, because I've been reading that thread, so I sort of expected this would come.
Now, while you look that up, what we're referring to, guys, is there's a thread on Spectrum. Why is there a height map limit, if I remember it correctly? Our director of graphics, Ali Brown, has been in that thread for the last couple weeks, I think, answering questions there. It's a really good discussion about not just the limitations, but sometimes not just the technical limitations, but sometimes the creative limitations behind why we can do things and why we can't. So we've got a video here.
Claro, está comentando que nos van a explicar ahora algo que ya hablaron sus compañeros, incluso comentaron en la CitizenCon, del tema de las limitaciones de altura del terreno y por qué hay esas limitaciones, que a veces es por una razón pues, de que las herramientas no dan para más, ¿no? No se puede hacer más. Entonces nos van a explicar aquí el tema.
Yes. So I just recorded this little example of what actually happens with, maybe go to the other one first, with the terrain and how terrain is basically functioning. So we have
Dice que nos tiene una gráfica explicándonos cómo funciona el terreno, ¿no?
patch of mesh, like polygons,
Ahí tienes
and we have our height map, and it's displaced. So it's stretching up and down, right? So this is based on just our height map of a piece of terrain that goes in, and it's pushed out. And what you'll see is sometimes with these triangles or polygons, they get stretched. So the steeper it is, the more they will get stretched. And some of the issues that we'll run into, and I prepared this one as a bit more stylized version of it. Like this is basically a grid with polygons doing the same thing, a very simple height map that will displace it. And these are basically our textures applied. And what you'll see will happen is if there's a smoothness, you'll see that these textures will remain quite nice and smooth, and they will not distort or displace too much. But what you'll see happening on the areas where...
Claro, evidentemente lo que está hablando es que veis que esto nos está enseñando de prueba, pero vimos cómo era el otro con triangulitos, ¿no? Entonces que claro, que a la hora de estirar el terreno, pues que estas secciones se ven como muy, muy desplazadas, ¿no? Este es el problema que es la textura, que se vería como el puto culo, básicamente. PTU confirmado. ¿Cómo que confirmado? ¿Que ya está listo para jugar o qué? No jodas. No jodas. Uf, a ver, un segundito. Darme un segundo. A ver. No, todavía no está. Qué cabrón, el Iván. No nos habrá toleado. ¿Sí que está o qué? ¿Confirmado que ya va a salir? Madre mía. Bueno, vamos a seguir con esto y luego lo miramos, que total.
I'm not even sure if my mouse is visible. Is it?
Yep, we can see it.
Cool. What you'll see on the more steeper areas is that these textures will get really, really stretched. And it's a very old school problem to have. But it's one that is also quite hard to fix, especially if you're dealing with a whole planet's worth of height content that's doing all kinds of things.
Espera. Se está estirando lo que es el mapa. Pero me cago en ese comentario. También me está estirando las pelotas, ¿eh? Qué cabrones que sois, joder. Qué cabrones que sois. Bueno, pues está hablando ahí eso, que precisamente no se puede poner mucha altura a las movidas, porque, o sea, mucha diferencia de altura, porque se estira mucho la textura, ¿no? Qué cabroncetes.
Some games they fix this by covering up a lot of these surfaces with additional geometry. That's what we also do. But the steeper it is, and this is just the textures problem. But also, if you look at the triangles or the polygons, it's the same issue. We distribute our assets based on these points, these vertices. And if an area is super stretched, the more stretched it is, there's actually no points to attach these assets to. So they will find a spot to spawn
Gracias,
on,
Lothar.
and it will look very jarring. So if there's not enough geometry to support it, it will cause issues. So the steepness is a
Claro,
bit of a
está
technical
diciendo de que
limitation.
si no hay suficiente geometría para soportar suficientes anclajes, que causará problemas. Imagino que con problemas se refiere a que se verá pues horrible.
And
Se verá
that's the
como el
reason why
Doom.
it's hard to do and get results that are very visually satisfying as well, because we can do higher stuff, especially on the large scale. So I think Ali said it as well, like if you want a very, very high mountain, you would have to do a bit of a pyramid shape. So the base, the top maximum height might be more than like 6, 7, 10 kilometers. But in order to get there, you would have to do it very gradually. And I think that's what happens in most situations on Earth and most large-scale mountain ranges as well. Like, yes, the maximum height is very high, but in order to get there, you're traveling kilometers and kilometers on the horizontal axis as well before you hit that highest point. And we sort of had to make a compromise, saying, well, in a patch of 4 by 4 kilometers, how much would you expect the maximum height difference to be? How steep would it be? And we sort of set.
Claro, está diciendo de que en un parche de 4x4 hicieron el compromiso para que no quedase, o sea, se sentaron a hablar en plan de, oye, ¿cuál sería la máxima altura para que esto no parezca un truñel, ¿no? Básicamente. Porque ya estáis viendo lo que pasa. La verdad es que se pierden un montón de cosas.
Settled on maximum of 2 kilometers between the lowest and highest point, and if you combine that with the height map on the planet itself,
Gracias, Iván, por esa
really have a
donación.
limitation, we could go way higher, but then the steepness would be less. It would be less steep, but the maximum height and lowest point would be bigger than 1 or 2 kilometers. I hope that sort of makes it a bit clearer.
Yeah, and for folks who want to know more, Twitch chat is they're on the case. They're on the case trying to solve it. You can go to the thread in Spectrum. We see the discussion. Ali's been taken.
Están diciendo de que además hay un hilo en Spectrum en el que están tratando de resolver este problema, ¿no? Para tratar de efectivamente poder sobrepasar esos límites.
Really great about engaging in the conversation with everybody. You can see far more information from our director of graphics about what can be done, what can't be done, what we're still looking to do in the future about this. So check that out. Now we've got Hurston. This is the Planetary V4 version of Hurston.
Yes, and this is from Monday. So
as in you did this work Monday?
So yeah, this is close to what will.
Fijaros lo que está diciendo la bañada, que dicen que esto es del lunes. Esto es como se ve Hearthstone ahora. O sea, ojo, telita marinera.
Be going out soon. As you might notice, we took this opportunity to go a little bit back to the 2017 version of Hearthstone that we presented, so everything is a bit more darker and polluted. We wanted to take this opportunity just to go back to the original art direction a bit more.
Además, está comentando de que querían volver a la.
Nobody saw that.
Nobody saw that. No.
Están comentando que querían volver a esa versión más oscura que había del concepto original del 2947 de Hearthstone y que han aprovechado este cambio de tecnología para hacer eso, pues el planeta como con más polución y demás, ¿no? Dar esa sensación.
But yeah, all the elements are coming together again, and yeah, we're quite happy with the results so far. And like Seb mentioned, with V4, it's really about a new and solid foundation that we can continue to build on,
right?
Versus having what you have and try to like hook things into it to make exceptions for now we want to be able to do this. This is from the ground up, and I think that was the most important thing for us as the team, that we wanted to have something that we know the foundation is correct, and we can actually continue to.
Está volviendo a comentar sobre el tema de los cimientos de la tecnología que están haciendo, que el equipo quería estar seguro de que los cimientos son los adecuados, son los correctos para poder continuar desarrollando.
Build on. moving forward.
Now, will this run on my a 486, or do I have to upgrade to a Pentium?
It's not really
I'm just
more.
don't-
Okay,
don't-
sorry.
sorry. One of the questions from the chat says, will we see traveled areas like dirt paths?
Eh, ha hecho un comentario discolando. Dice, bueno, entonces esto lo podré correr en mi 486 o tendré que cambiarme a mi Pentium. Madre mía.
In the future?
A ver, un segundito que me he colado con la pregunta. Se
Can
me ha escuchado.
actually continue to build on moving forward.
Now, will this run on my a 486, or do I have to upgrade to a Pentium?
It's not really
I'm just
more.
don't-
Okay,
don't-
sorry.
sorry.
Un segundito, chicos. Locations Art for 2020, The Sync Meeting. Mira, está hablando con Todd Papi. Que mirar la foto que tiene Todd Papi, el cabrón, que tiene un bigotazo ahí. Qué trolls que son. Y dice que hay una reunión para el 2020. Y además es un correo. O sea, es un correo para que se reúnan para el tema de diseño o sea, que se cuece. Se cuece, ya están trabajando ahí en cosas gordas. Pero qué grande el icono, ¿eh?
It's not really
I'm just
more. Okay,
sorry. One of the questions from the chat says, will we see traveled areas like dirt paths in the future?
In the future, we wanna get more stuff, road-related stuff. But yeah, we would need a tool for that. So that's had to take a bit of a backseat in favor of properly doing the Planetary.
So not out of consideration or anything, just nothing,
No.
just not in the immediate.
Yeah.
This looks like one of the junkyards. Seems more spread out than it used to be.
Yeah, this is one of the outposts on one of the little islands along the coast. So this is one of the new spots people will be able to visit.
Ya dice que esta es una de las nuevas localizaciones que está en una de las islas que podremos visitar. Y creo que ha hablado algo sobre si vamos a poder ver más suciedad en lo que es el tema de los planetas, y que dice que es algo que no está planeado de momento.
Yeah. Did any of we see a lot of grass, a lot of rocks?
No, más suciedad en los pads. En los pads se refiere. Más suciedad en los pads. Los pads imagino que se refiere a los landing pads.
Stuff on the surface here. Did any changes in V4 affect the way that grass and plants can sometimes clip through the bottom of a ship or even our landing ramps?
Algo ha cambiado en tema de las plantas, o bueno, que a veces aterrizamos la nave y que nos aparece una planta en medio de la nave, no atravesando la nave, que si eso pues se ha corregido de alguna manera.
Not yet.
No todavía.
But this is something that we are continuously talking about how to improve, and we want to improve it because I think now that there's this foundation is set up, we can actually look at the details more. Mm-hmm. Which means that if you for example, the cacti, if you have your rover or your cyclone, beast of a machine, and you're just blasting through the wasteland, and then you run into those cacti and you're standing still, which it doesn't really match your expectations when you're driving around a vehicle in a vehicle like that, and you're hitting what I would expect to be a softer object, or at least I would expect it to break under when it gets hit. So stuff like that is stuff that we are still looking at.
Ok, es una muy buena señal, una muy buena noticia lo que acaban de decir. Y es, han hablado de la destrucción. Es decir, están diciendo de que, claro, de que ahora mismo entienden que no es muy lógico que tú vayas con una máquina como un rover, un Ursa y demás. O sea, un Cyclone, no un Ursa, ¿no? Y que vayas ahí, pues, contra un cactus y que de repente, pues, el cactus sea, pues, un muro de contención, ¿no? Entonces que lo normal es que se esperaría que, pues, que fuese una superficie más blanda o que se rompiese. Y que es algo que están mirando de cara al futuro. O sea que la verdad es que me encantaría que Star Citizen tuviera un escenario al menos parcialmente destruible. Eso sería la hostia.
It's on the to-do list.
We got a couple of questions in chat about big cracks on the surface of the planet. I think they're asking if we'll see cracks that are big enough that we can actually go down inside them. But I think we hit the height map thing again with that.
Yeah. I think that that ties into the height map, or the technical limitations of how the terrain works and is displaced. Any type of crack would have to have some sort of angle. I think Ali mentioned that it works best up to 70 degrees.
Right.
So if you want something super steep, that's actually it would come down to assets along those edges to sort of get more vertical faces, which is also something that we're looking into.
Está comentando de si vamos a tener grietas en el terreno en las que podamos caer, ¿no? Por así decirlo. Y dice que ahora mismo que solo hay como máximo una inclinación de 70 grados para ese tipo de grietas, pero que están investigando recursos para poder hacer ese tipo de caídas más verticales.
What are these? I know you're not actually moving through the thing, so I can't tell you to turn around. But what are these pillars we're looking at? Are these like oil derricks?
These are the prospecting towers in the mining pit.
Okay.
This is the video is recorded when the density of these assets, the occurrence of these assets is super high. So these are actually they're like, there should be dotted around like 4 of them in this entire frame.
Están preguntando Discordando qué coño pasa con esos pilares que hay por ahí, con esas torres que hay por ahí. Dice que son torres de prospección que en realidad estaba... un segundo. Chavales, que no podía ni hablar. Dice que son torres de prospección, pero que en realidad que el número que hay ahí puesto, que simplemente estaba puesto ahí en plan al máximo, como una barbaridad puesto para probar una serie de movidas, y que realmente solo debería de haber como unas 4 por la zona o así más o menos.
But yeah, like I said, this is taken straight from the editor as a
just
work in progress.
Yes,
it's all work in progress. If this were ISC, we'd have the work in progress tag in the lower corner. But this was a last minute ad for the show. We realized we had these this morning, so we decided to throw them in there as a treat for our viewers, so we don't have them WIP'd here.
May I come back to your question about having to get a better machine for this, though?
This is your show. You can do whatever the heck you want, Sebastian.
Oh, great. But in all seriousness, we made a lot of conscious effort to not spend much more resources for the whole thing. And in some parts we're even using less. So you hopefully won't need a new rig for any of that.
¿Qué coño ha dicho? Que no me he enterado de nada.
I just don't get. If this were ISC, we'd have the work in progress tag in the lower corner. But this was a last minute ad for the show. We realized we had these this morning, so we decided to throw them in there as a treat for our viewers, so we don't have them WIP'd here.
May I come back to your question about having to get a better machine for this, though?
This is your show. You can do whatever the heck you want, Sebastian.
Oh, great. But in all seriousness, we made a lot of conscious effort to not spend much more resources for the whole thing. And in some parts we're even using less. So you hopefully won't need a new rig for any of that.
I just don't get to say Pentium very often anymore these days. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to say Pentium. I know where...
Claro, están comentando acerca del tema de la máquina. Y dicen que, bueno, que viene a resumir básicamente que espera que no necesitemos cambiar de máquina para poder disfrutar de esta... Que espera que no necesitemos cambiar de máquina para disfrutar de estas mejoras que hay.
We're still looking at Herson here.
A ver, vamos a tomarlo con calma. O sea, se refiere a que no... Evidentemente, para jugar Star Citizen en condiciones, no es ningún secreto que no vas a poder moverlo con un 486. O sea, vas a necesitar algo, ¿no? Lo que están diciendo es que, bueno, si para poneros un poco en materia, Chris Roberts había dicho que para jugar a este juego haría falta una 1080, 16 GB de RAM, un SSD y un procesador con la mayor cantidad de núcleos que puedas. Eh, lo que pasa es que sí es cierto que los tiempos avanzan, Star Citizen avanza, y realmente sí os podría decir que ahora mismo para jugar a Star Citizen realmente fluido no hay ninguna máquina que sirva. Así que lo único que podemos esperar es ir revisando la telemetría, ¿ok? En la telemetría que la tenéis en Development Telemetry, en la página de Roberto Espacios, la tenéis ahí. Y entonces, pues ahí os podéis hacer una idea de a cuántos FPS se está moviendo la gente. Y así hacer un balance de si realmente pues necesitaríais cambiar el ordenador, os compensa esperar un poco más, pero bueno, al final disfrutar del camino de Star Citizen es una maravilla. Y yo recomiendo que está muy bien gastar en naves porque financiáis el proyecto, pero tener un PC para jugarlo también mola mucho. Es otra forma de ayudar al proyecto, al fin y al cabo.
Has ArcCorp been improved in any way with V4?
Argop is a very special beast in its own right, I'd say. Even in V3, we had to do a lot of put a lot of extra effort in adjusting the tech just for Arcorp, and we have done the same for V4 as well. That being said, since we had to redo all planets, we didn't go all out. Rebuilding Arcorp with everything, utilizing everything that V4 has to offer in terms of improvements. So we just tried to get as close or slightly better than V3 Arcorp, which I think we hopefully did. But it's not, yeah. I mean, it benefits from some of the improvements, like the space to ground transition being more consistent, but it's not a very different planet, I'd say.
Claro, está comentando si las tecnologías de V4 pues se han aplicado también para el planeta de ArcCorp. Y bueno, lo que he dicho directamente los desarrolladores es que ArcCorp es una bestia muy particular y que sí que se han mejorado las transiciones con la tecnología V4 desde lo que es de llegar desde el espacio hasta la Tierra, o sea, hasta pisar Tierra, pero que necesita otro tipo de ajuste diferente y que realmente parece el mismo planeta, no tiene tanto cambio como podremos ver en Hearthstone, ¿no?
Yeah, I think everything that
Oh, Dios mío.
um,
Espera, lo voy a decir y luego lo pongo otra vez. Qué puta animalada, qué puta animalada esas cordilleras, tío, esa topografía, pero ¿qué es esto, tío?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, not a very different planet, I'd say.
yeah, I think everything that improved in terms of the consistency from orbit to ground also is the case for ArcCorp. But a lot of the improvements that happened for V4 are very much based on the organic side of how a planet would work. So temperature and all this stuff, and what happens with terrain, and what happens with assets, and how stuff sort of mixes together. And ArcCorp is a very unnatural place because it's basically completely covered, right? So yeah, it's not benefiting as much from it as the organic locations.
For now, we'll see if we ever get.
Claro, están diciendo de que efectivamente en la tecnología V4 principalmente ahora mismo se enfoca en el aspecto orgánico y que bueno, en el caso de ArcCorp que no es tan orgánico evidentemente, es todo metal.
When we hopefully get around to.
Yes. Well, eventually, we were talking about this a little bit before the show. We've stated before in the past. Eventually, ArcCorp will need to be revisited to add things like its oceans and stuff like that. So I would imagine that whenever that time comes, will probably be a good chance to look at the other stuff.
Look at what it can actually benefit from in the V4 tech properly with a proper rework of content.
There's a couple things on the bucket list. I think the big the butterfly seam at the equator.
That's still there.
Yeah, it's still there in 3.8 because, like you just said, it's our corp. The work right now for 3.8 wasn't as is minor as far as our corp is concerned, but it's mostly for the other planets. But the addition of more biomes and stuff like that.
Speaking of RCorp.
Yeah. Good call.
Lo que estamos viendo es una estación
So
orbital.
that's the new orbital station. I have not visited ArcCorp in 3.8 yet. So. Now, one of the things this is a me question here. We are in these videos. We are traveling much faster than a player can ever travel. Look how fast we just got down from the station to the city. I know level LODs and stuff they're set based on the relative speeds that players can travel as far as when they stream in, when they stream out and stuff like that. We are exceeding that by quite a bit in these videos. Is that going to make the popping that we see sometimes in these videos a little more egregious than they would be in game?
I would definitely say any footage that comes straight out of an editor is like you mentioned, we're flying around at ridiculous speed, so the popping or the loading of these assets it's not meant to keep up with that.
Claro, está comentando una cosa interesante, es que dice que además los vídeos que estamos viendo ahora, la velocidad a la que se mueven ellos es superior a la velocidad a la que se movería un jugador en el juego. Y está preguntando y escolando si el pop que vemos ahora realmente se ve afectado por esa velocidad, y está comentando el desarrollador que efectivamente cuando están dentro del motor o sea, la velocidad a la que se mueven es insana, y que los recursos y todo lo que sabemos no está preparado para esa velocidad, ¿no? Entonces, que traduciendo en otras palabras, que cuando nosotros vayamos con nuestra nave, pues no veremos así ese popeo exagerado.
That speed, so it will be much less for players just playing the game and flying around. And
it was just occurring to me as I was watching this. I'm like, because I know the tech art team and everything spends a lot of time balancing these LODs and their transition rates, and they're usually based on the speeds at which a player can move, and we are just here, and I'm like, they're not built.
Bueno, lo del sonido ese de abejorro que hizo el Discolando era para decir, nosotros estamos moviendo así, esa movida que hizo. Y que dice que, bueno, que el juego no está preparado para ese tipo de velocidades.
To keep up with this speed, but they should look much better
Y que debería verse mucho mejor desde el punto de vista de un jugador.
Let's see. ArcCorp's a beautiful planet, but with only 3 types of biomes, residential, commercial, industrial, the service can get a little repetitive. Will we see additional biomes? Eventually. Not with 3.8.
Eventually we will.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Está comentando que eventualmente veremos diferentes biomas en ArcCorp, que de momento pues es muy repetitivo, pero que eventualmente se verán más cosas.
For 3.8 it's just redoing what was there before and getting the whole set of planets out in time. So
yeah. You see, we're moving so much faster than a player can.
Yeah.
So you can see the transitions more, but when you do this at player speeds,
it's gonna be very, very slow.
Much smoother.
Saludos, Lobgus.
All right. Do you plan in the future to add mud on a planet with water? They're very
¿Planeáis en el futuro añadir lodo en los planetas?
water focused.
I can imagine. It's understandable. Water is a lot of fun to play around with.
I'm mostly water.
We do have mud textures. I think we're basically ran out of videos.
Sorry, you can stop the screen share.
Cool. So yeah, we do have some mud textures already on some of the planets. I think you'll find some mud on Stanton 1 in and around the trash, but I think the question is more about, will we have slippery mud, and will we see footsteps? I think it ties into what you would expect to see with...
Claro, dice que ahora mismo sí que se puede ver barro en Hearthstone, en Stanton 1, pero pero que la pregunta debería ir más enfocada si realmente pues el barro va a ser resbaladizo o se va a dejar las huellas en el barro.
A more complex simulation of snow on the ground as well, like those effects of stepping into deeper stuff, and that's on the wish list that we'll still have to.
Así que dice que sí, que está en la lista de deseos, así que el barro será barro, señores. Pues ahí dejaremos un día nuestra pierna como se deja hundida pues en la nieve, ¿no? Que ese tipo de cosas están ahí en la lista de deseos.
Look at. So we have mud textures, but not slippery mud that will change your physics drastically, or create like you won't be able to create these massive mud slipstreams yet.
We don't have deformation, but I do think we can make them mud slippery for vehicles and stuff. I think that's possible.
Yeah, because I mean, it'd be good to make driving on the surface even more difficult than it already is.
Yeah.
Claro, además dice Discolando que sería muy interesante el poder pues conducir en una superficie que lo haga más difícil de lo que ya todavía es. Pobre Discolando. Y pues hombre, la verdad es que estaría muy guapo el conducir con un Cyclone sobre barro y ver que pues se pringa todo y realmente dificulta la conducción, ¿no?
I mean, the frozen ocean will also be slippery, so
Yes.
I think the mud should be the same.
Now we have some basic friction, but it will not be visually very involved.
Let's follow
Dice además que la nieve congelada que ya es resbaladiza, o sea que prepararos para la 3.8 en Microtech.
up on that. While we're talking about vehicles driving around PlanetSide, rocks. Why do you put so many rocks around?
Looks good.
Come on, help me out, man.
¿Por qué ponéis tantas rocas por todos lados? Y dice, pintan bien, quedan guay.
Well.
Y fuera.
But what's the deal? Well, why are there so many rocks?
That's a good question. I think in a lot of ways, the environments that we're building are not landscaped by humans. So I think first of all, we've tried to really improve our scattering methods in 3.8. So with the terrain being much more an element that feeds into the scattering system and where we distribute assets, that should already create a way more natural feeling of, okay, this is a dense area here. It's actually a clearing that you can sort of follow and it feels like a natural path. But due to the procedural nature, you will still find areas that are super dense and less dense. Some areas the algorithm just gives you maximum rocks. So that can
Dice que es una cuestión del procedural, de que al final pues sería ideal poder tener zonas que fuesen, que se crease como un camino natural de alguna manera y tal, pero que al ser procedural, pues que por el algoritmo que hay algunas zonas que simplemente pues está petado de rocas, ¿no?
I don't think that will ever really change, but we've really tried to balance that out wherever an artist is involved and is looking at an area.
Que al final es lo que comentaban, ¿no? Que dice que tienen unos artistas trabajando y mirando en ciertas áreas. Y en definitiva el procedural ya sabéis que aquí se utiliza como herramienta para ayudar a los artistas, ¿no? Que al final los artistas serían los pinceladas finales a las cosas.
But nature isn't always nicely traversable either, so
Yeah. Yeah, when you say things like I don't think that'll ever really change. You know, we're talking about that there will always be difficult areas. There will always be places on when you're building an entire planet. There will always be places where it's difficult to traverse. It's meant to be challenging for you to get through there. But I really like what you said before about how we are constantly iterating on the algorithm, on the way that these things are placed, on the way that...
Claro, está diciendo de que va a haber lugares los que sean de difícil acceso y supongan un reto para poder llegar al otro lado. Pero que a pesar de eso, pues evidentemente que están trabajando constantemente en el algoritmo, en mejorar las cosas, ¿no?
on their densities and stuff like that. We've worked on 3.8, but that's not the only patch where we've improved it. We've actually improved it in previous patches as well, and it's something
Yeah.
we'll continue to work on. It's
Claro, es una cosa que no solamente han mejorado en la en TK 3.8, sino que también lo han hecho en parches anteriores y es una cosa que pues que se irán constantemente mejorando, ¿no?
I know many of our developers watch the YouTube videos, they watch the Twitch streams. That, in addition to playing the game ourselves, we watch other people play and we see their experience, and we do want this to be a fun but challenging experience in a lot of ways. So we will continue to watch, we will continue to evaluate, and we will continue to adjust as we have been, based on the experience that we see players have.
Que dice que además miran a muchos streamers y demás y que bueno que basado en la experiencia que los jugadores tengan, pues irán también ayudará, ¿no? A que vayan cambiando cosas o mejorando ciertos lugares.
Yeah, I personally just to add to that, some of the sci-fi novels that you read is like one person plotting yes. One of the things that I found like was really, really cool about it is he had to plan out this route of kilometers to just get from point 1 to B and like plan the whole trip. And there were so many dangers, like even basic rocks were very dangerous. Like, oh, this boulder field is going to be a real issue. I personally think it's really cool. But I also appreciate the desire to have a good smooth running rally through across a moon surface or do like racing. So it's not.
Claro, está comentando de que en pues, libros de ciencia ficción y tal, historias de ciencia ficción, que le gusta el concepto, le atrae el concepto de que cuando alguien planea una ruta, pues que de un punto A a un punto B, pues que por el medio se encuentre peligros, e incluso pues varios peligros relacionados con el terreno, ¿no? De repente una roca que está ahí, que se mueve, que es chunga y tal. Pero que también tiene el deseo, comparte el deseo de poder hacer una ruta que sea adecuada para tener un rally, ¿no? Un rally por la luna o cosas así, ¿no?
We're not doing it to make life difficult. I mean, we want to make sure that we can facilitate both, basically.
Yeah, it's in a lot of creation methods, sculpting, for instance, it's easier to take away as you go than it is to build up after the fact. You start with a big slab of granite. You start with everything, and then you slowly start pulling away the parts that you don't need.
Está comparando Star Citizen con una obra de escultura, ¿no? Con una escultura. Dice que bueno, que primero pillas la piedra gorda y que luego vas puliendo y poco a poco y quitando todo lo que no necesitas. O sea, que es lo que están haciendo en Star Citizen.
To get to the shape that you want, and I think that's where we're at. We're still working with our big slab of granite right here.
Dice
We're
que
still refining the
todavía
way the
siguen
granite
trabajando
is made,
con la gran
and
piedra,
as
¿no?
things continue, we'll continue to sculpt things off of it and make it a more enjoyable experience. Seasons. This has come up a couple times in the chat. Will we ever see planets change depending on seasons?
¿Alguna vez veremos planetas cambiar basado en las estaciones, en plan otoño, primavera, invierno?
Hopefully. I mean, the fact that we have everything based on temperature and humidity now, which is like almost climate, will allow us to do much more than we could before. But it's still something we need to put more work in and like build things.
Es algo a lo que tiene que poner más trabajo, pero espera que sí, que vayamos a poder tener estaciones. Que ahora mismo está pues solo el tema de la temperatura y demás igual, tal como está, ¿no? Que está en esa fase, en esa etapa, pero poniendo más trabajo en ello, pues espera que podamos ver esos cambios climáticos a nivel planeta, ¿no? De estaciones. La verdad es que me parecería la hostia.
Specifically for it. So hopefully we will be able to have seasons soon, or like eventually.
Espero que seamos capaces de ver estaciones pronto o eventualmente, pero bueno, que parece que están trabajando en ello muy duro. O sea.
Who knows? But yeah, it would be nice to have it, and we are already preparing some of the assets in a way so we can actually change their color, like have the leaves turn, change their color and stuff. So we are slowly preparing for it, but I'm not sure if there are like specific plans to get that.
Dice que están lentamente preparándose para ello, en plan como el cambio de las hojas, el color de las hojas y todo eso, pero que no está seguro de que haya planes a corto plazo para desarrollar esa tecnología hasta ese punto.
Like when that is gonna be a thing, or if... Yeah.
Right.
It's a very large scale dynamic thing that would need to happen.
RV, la traslación en los planetas. De entrada no. O sea, estos chavales no son los que responden esas preguntas. Seguramente tenga que ver con el bigotes, el Todd Papi. Pero de momento no tiene pinta de que vaya a haber traslación. O sea, solo rotación, ¿no? Pero bueno, quién sabe, o sea, habrá que verlo, ya veremos. Eso al final puede ser una locura, ¿no?
So yeah, we can sort of predict or like imagine how we would set up assets for it, but how all those components would tie in together.
I think the point is
quite there
it's not coming next week.
No.
If it comes at all. No, one of the really cool things about Planetech V4, and we talk about it quite a bit in ISC that went out yesterday with the VFX team, is what you just mentioned, Sebastian. How we now have temperature information in the not the tile sets, the surface types and stuff like that, and we can pull so much from that. Like that's what the VFX team is tying into that to inform the type of ground storm that is produced over each area. So it's definitely conceivable, at the very least. It seems like it's theoretically possible to tie into that same information to kind of to flock trees in the winter or something like that.
Madre mía. Dicen que claro que ahora mismo el equipo está trabajando intensamente en el tema de qué tipo de tormentas desarrollar para determinadas zonas o cómo se verían esas tormentas según las zonas, ¿no? Y que eso podría dar pie, o sea, dar paso pues a nuevas estaciones, ¿no? Esa transición o esas diferentes tipos de tormentas, ¿no? Que podría dar paso a las diferentes estaciones que vienen.
At this point, I'm not aware of any direct plans
Claro, pero a este punto no soy consciente de que haya ningún
who knows what
plan
the future holds.
con respecto a esto, ¿no?
Did Ali talk about the snow depositing on the suit of the player? And that was a thing in Sitcom, right? So
Yes.
that's also like that's gonna tie into the whole environment as well. So we will be able to have snow deposit on everything in the environment eventually. So there are things coming together that will hopefully give us seasons eventually. But yeah, we're not done there yet.
Joder. Está diciendo básicamente que la nieve eventualmente se posará sobre todo, ¿no? O sea, sobre nosotros, sobre la nave, sobre el suelo. Entonces, cuando hay una tormenta, entonces que eventualmente eso dará pie a que haya efectivamente estaciones.
Yeah, so a lot of building blocks being put into place.
Now the snow buildup, if I remember correctly, that on the affecting the player outfits, that's not in 3.8. That's coming later because
3.9, I think.
Yeah, because we have to go back and reset up all the different armor types and character types to do that and stuff like that. So so the tech is there. We just need to implement it across everything at this point.
Yeah.
Will there be caves to discover on Microtech and its moons in 3.8?
¿Habrá cuevas que subir en Microtech en la 3.8?
Not for 3.8. And this has to do with if we think about caves on Microtech and its moons, I think we would really like to see a new archetype, which would be frozen caves, ice caves.
Right.
So we really want to do it justice and do it properly. And if we would put in caves now, it would probably be the archetype that we already have, because just simply due to time limitations. But when we do caves on Microtech, we want to make sure that they are proper ice caves and they.
Claro, están diciendo que ahora mismo si pusieran cuevas serían con el mismo arquetipo que tienen ahora, es decir, de roca y demás. Y que en Microtech sin sus lunas quieren poner cuevas que sean de hielo, cuevas heladas.
Feel that ice cave feel.
Cuando tengan la sensación de que, pues, efectivamente, de que pueden tener una cueva ya en condiciones, que esa transmisión de ser una cueva helada, esa sensación, ¿no? Realmente esa sensación, pues entonces sí las pondrán.
Look as cool as they can be. So not for 3.8, but in the near future.
No para la 3.8, pero en el futuro cercano.
We have a question here. Let's go a little further ahead. We know that Crusade, Microtech comes out with Alpha 3.8, but a lot of our backers are always about, all right, but what's next? Crusader. We know that Crusader from lore and everything is a gas giant. Does Planetech V4 apply to Crusader? Because we talked about earlier how it doesn't apply to Arc.
El gesto que acabo de poner es por no me toques los huevos. En plan de. Me acaban de preguntar sobre Crusader si la tecnología de Planetaria versión 4 se aplica a Crusader, que es un gigante gaseoso, ¿no? Ya sabéis que llega para el año que viene.
The Arc was it's mostly an organics kind of thing, but that seems like maybe Crusader might be an exception
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, Crusader is like even more detached from Planetary before than Arcorp, because Arcorp is at least a solid thing. But Crusader needs its own very own tech, and I mean maybe we will be able to use some of its tech and repurpose it for Crusader. I don't know about that. That's probably for Ali to answer, I guess. But yeah, it's not gonna have any impact on Crusader.
Básicamente que no va a tener. Que puede que aprovechen algo de la tecnología de la Planetaria, la V4 para Crusader, pero que va a tener su propia tecnología diferente, ¿no? O sea que no. Que realmente va a ser otro rollo distinto.
Yeah, there might be some logic or just general methodology that we can sort of take into whatever we do for Crusader. But Crusader will be its own piece of tech to do that, and that would involve all the clouds and just having those look and feel correct. And like Seb said, it doesn't. It's not even a physical or solid thing that you would fly to. It's basically all types of clouds and layers. And
Claro, dice que además en el caso de Crusader, pues que efectivamente que sería una tecnología aparte, además sería una cuestión de el tema de las nubes volumétricas y todo ese tema, ¿no? Y que serían diferentes capas y que no habría nada sólido, simplemente pues sería la sensación de hacer algo creíble, de volar entre nubes, ¿no? O sea que
yeah, it's a very different system.
es un sistema muy
Yep,
diferente,
and,
¿no? Dice
folks
esto.
can expect to hear more about Crusader as we continue its development next year in things like ISC and maybe even back here on SCL. So stay tuned for that stuff.
Y dice además que puede que escuchemos hablar algo más sobre Crusader y que estemos atentos al Star Citizen Live, que bueno, pues que antes de que acabe el año puede que nos enseñen algo más de Crusader.
Guys, this is it. We're at the end. I got one more question for you, and then you get to go for the weekend. You get to watch all The Expanse, which just dropped on Amazon. That's not a commercial. That's just me saying I'm really excited to
So
watch
excited
The Expanse.
for that.
Dice que ya podéis acabar de tal y ya podéis ir a casa a disfrutar el fin de semana y además de ver la serie de Expanse, que no sabía que había salido ya y que están ahí ya tensos para verla.
Right. It's not a commercial.
Dice, no es un comercial.
The Expanse. What's the thing about Planetech V4 that excites you the most? You guys have been working on this between Planetech V2.
Vale, la última pregunta, que es ¿qué parte de la tecnología de V4 os llama más la atención?
Planetech V3, Planetech V4. You've been working on developing this tech for some time now. Where we're at now, what it does for us in the future, what's the thing about it that excites you the most?
For me personally, it's
Yes.
definitely the things we can do with it in the future, just because it's so enabling in all different kinds that we always wanted improvements to have, but we're kind of limited with the groundwork that we had, and now it's like I said before, we have plans for essentially every part of it it can be improved.
Está comentando de que lo que más le llama la atención es las posibilidades de futuro que tienen con esta nueva tecnología con respecto a las limitaciones que tenían con la anterior, y que pues hay un abanico de posibilidades a mejorar en esa nueva tecnología que lo tiene ahí entusiasmado.
And that's what excites me the most, just so we can get better looking planets much faster in the future, and and a lot of things we couldn't do before. So
Claro, que le permitirá hacer planetas más rápidos en el futuro y otra serie de cosas que no podrían hacer antes.
that's what excites me the most.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much my
Dice que
my
es
answer as well.
lo mismo.
It's such a thinking back of earlier Planetech, like a lot of the stuff that we wanted to do either had to be an exception to the rule set that we have, or the more complex stuff got, the more we found ourselves adding exceptions in order to do stuff. And then in the end, you'll have this very complex system of all these rules and exceptions and checkboxes that you need to make sure that you need to enable for it to work, and then you forget one. And this, like, now we're at this at a new system which fundamentally has a very grounded logic to it.
Claro, decía que antes estaba todo lleno de opciones y de checkbox que tenían que marcar para que ciertas cosas funcionasen, y si se olvidaban de una pues tenían que marcarla, y que ahora básicamente con la nueva herramienta que tienen, que todo tiene mucho más sentido, es mucho más lógico, mucho más fácil trabajar con la tecnología V4 que con la anterior.
You can imagine doing stuff and you can imagine, like, okay, well, this requires temperature, or I understand that I can plug this into the flow maps and the humidity in order to achieve a certain thing. And so with that data, you can actually, everything you could almost imagine, well, I wouldn't say everything, but a lot of the stuff that we would want to do, you can sort of plug into the logic that is there now.
Claro, dice que ahora mismo si te imaginas una cosa con algo que quieres crear que tenga con el planeta, evidentemente, pues que puedes pensar de una manera lógica, en el sentido de, bueno, si quiero conseguir, pues imaginaos, lo digo yo, o sea, una zona de pantano, ¿ok? Pues tendré que poner una temperatura que sea pues de 20 grados, por ahí, de 20 grados 25, y que tenga todo lleno y que la humedad sea altísima. Entonces, que no era como antes, que tenían que activar las cosas, sino que ahora mismo pues hay recursos lógicos que añadir y que calibrar para conseguir el resultado deseado. En ese sentido, que lo encuentran mucho más fácil trabajar con este sistema.
And with that foundation, that we can actually look forward to, okay, now we can start building again on top of it, instead of adding exceptions and little additional checkboxes just to enable.
Claro, dice que en lugar de tener que añadir excepciones a un terreno o opciones adicionales a un cacho de terreno, ¿no? Para hacer que se vea de determinada manera.
Certain things. Yeah.
Well, that sounds great, guys. Thank you so much for taking your time to be here on Star Citizen Live. Sebastian, it was your first time doing video for us. How was it?
Thank you for having me.
El tío está reventado. Dice, le pregunta, ¿has sido tu primera vez por el vídeo? Toma un suspiro y dice, gracias por tenerme.
No, it was surprisingly good. I mean, I think I didn't make a complete fool out of myself, so that's always good. I actually had fun.
That
good.
mic really picked up that breath. It's so far from your mouth too, and it was just like here's this. It was surprisingly good. I had a lot of fun. All right, that's Sebastian. That's Michelle. I'm Jared.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for watching us, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
There'll be no SCL next week, but we'll be back with our last ISC of the year. So this is the last SCL of the year. So enjoy. We'll see you on ISC.
Dice que no va a haber Star Citizen Live la semana que viene, pero sí que habrá Inside Star Citizen, parece ser.
Next week. Happy holidays if we don't see
Happy
you
holidays,
then.
everybody.
And until next time, take care.
Till then.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Disfrutar de las vacaciones y todo eso, y bueno, pues que si no nos vemos, pues nos veremos cuando sea, ¿no? Es lo que dice. Y nada, pues chavales, deciros que la verdad es que cada día lo pienso más. Star Citizen es un pedazo de juego, es un juego increíble, tremendusco, es un juego tremendusco, no tremendísimo, tremendusco. Y la verdad es que es la hostia. Que a este paso, yo creo que, o sea, el año que viene vamos a flipar con la cantidad de cosas que van a venir, y sobre todo con la 3.8. Con la 3.8, madre mía, el tow y todo eso, a ver si meten el tow o lo meten la 3.8 punto algo, pero me gustaría que lo metiesen prontito, pero va a ser bestial. Y deciros que bueno, que vamos a hacer un eventillo. Ya sabéis que si queréis apuntaros al evento, que estáis todavía a tiempo, que es a las 10, os pasáis ahí por alfilo.org, os apuntáis en el calendario y a correr. Eso es, RV. Así que daros mil gracias por el apoyo, y sobre todo que os habéis resuscrito y donado, que sois la hostia. Y recordaros que el último viernes de este mes, que creo que es 27, me parece, pues que sí, el 27 de diciembre, pues hay un sorteo ahí pendiente, gracias a la gente pues que que se suscribe y que dona, de una Piscis con el Escuadrón 42, todo LTI, todo muy bajo, todo bonito, con paquete de juego. Así que... ¡hasta luego!